G'day and welcome back to the channel. On this episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups, you guessed it, we're working back on my classic Mini and we're going to be installing some exhaust mounts. Now, today is day 2 of us being in quarantine, so good thing I have this classic Mini here and my YouTube channel, otherwise I'd be going insane watching Peppa Pig and Transformers on repeat 24/7. Now, to kick off the episode, I've got a Tomo's tech tip. Grab yourself a leaf blower or a broom or something you can use to clean the ground underneath you, because we're going to be using a set of jack stands and rolling down on the ground. We don't want to be rolling in any dirt, debris, grease, mud, whatever there is, so clean it before you work underneath there. Even grab yourself a large sheet, lay it down, that way you can lay on your back if you don't have a creeper and you don't have to get your shirt dirty. Alright, so the car's already on jack stands as you can see, but we need to jack it up a little bit higher to be able to get a bit more access. So we'll put the jack underneath there, we'll jack it up so we can lay underneath it comfortably, and then that way we can get a bit more access. Alright, so welcome underneath my Mini. Now, there are 2 bushes in which we need to replace. There is one just up here, which at the moment I just have a bolt sitting in there. So that's just been rattling around essentially for the last 2 or 3 years. The second one is at the back of this exhaust, but I've pretty much mounted it directly, and I'll just show you in a sec. So this one at the back here, I've pretty much mounted it directly to the subframe itself, so we can probably get away with not even bothering about changing that one. So it's just going to be the one just up here. Now, because the bolt that I put in originally, it came in from the front of the car backwards, I don't think there's going to be a way to be able to get this out. So what we might need to do is probably get an angle grinder and just cut it, and then hopefully that'll be enough to be able to get it out. So fingers crossed we could do that. If not, then probably have to drop the subframe. Alright, so I have the new exhaust mount just here. Now, I didn't even realise that when I first built this car that it had one of these there. I don't think from memory that it was attached, and if it was probably just the mounting point just at the back here, and the rubber had just deteriorated completely. So where I put the bolt through, I've just got it kind of sitting on a bit of an angle. So I didn't even realise that the hole that I put it through was the mounting bolts for these. So this was like 15 bucks. So we're just going to take it off, we're going to change it and actually have a proper mount there, rather than it just bouncing around and causing some vibrations. So first thing I'm going to do is just attempt to get it off using a spanner and a ratchet. I've just got a 1/2 inch bolt in there at the moment, so hopefully we get enough room in there to be able to squeeze in and take the nut off. Alright, so I managed to cheat just a bit, apply enough pressure to the end of the bracket, and then pull the bolt out through there. So I think we should be okay. Alright, so I've just worked out that the bolt I had going through there into the original hole, the stud has completely come out. So without properly dropping this subframe, we're just going to have to mount it using one bolt, and hopefully that should hold it. If not, I might just be able to tack the mount on there with a bit of weld. The mount hole is just down behind here, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to see, but hopefully I can just pull this far enough out of the way where it will enable us to put the new mount. If not, then we can just slide it on just like this. Alright, so slight change of plans. We're just going to undo it from here. Hopefully this will give us enough room to be able to drop it down and then gain access to it. It's pretty much one solid pipe the entire way through, right from the down pipe of the extractors all the way through to the back of the subframe. Alright, give it a bit of a wiggle. Spring washer comes off, and then the bolt will come straight out. Alright, so now we can get access to where we need it to be. So you can actually see here how it's pulled the thread out of there as well. So I can't actually reach the nut on the back because there's not enough room without dropping the subframe. So we're just going to put one bolt in through here, tighten it up enough, and it should be alright to hold it. Alright, so let's try and refit this exhaust and see what we can do with it. So I've got one end on at the moment. I'm just going to loosely fit this nut just to stop it falling off, and then we'll try and make sure that everything's lined up before we tighten everything. Alright, so we got that on. I still have to tighten this nut, which I'll do in a minute. I'm just going to tighten the other end of the exhaust. Alright, so that's it for this episode. It took me a lot longer than what I anticipated, probably because this exhaust system isn't designed specifically for my car. So I did have to fend-do with the rear and the middle or back mounts quite a lot in order to get this thing to line up, but we finally got there. There's little to no movement in there whatsoever, and that's perfect. So now that we're finished, on to the next job. We'll see you right here on the next episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups.